Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Greatest Leaders of History by Lord Andrew Roberts on the Peterson Academy. So I recently did reviews for The Boy Crisis, Symbolism and Christianity, and Intro to Nietzsche, so you guys can go check those out if you haven't already. And as I stated in those videos, I will be covering every single course on the Peterson Academy when I eventually finish them. I want to make sure that I take all the lectures before I give you guys my thoughts. These reviews will be spoiler-free, so I'm not going to go into any specifics that are taught in the course. I want you guys to take these courses if you feel like they're worth it. So with that all out of the way, let's talk about the greatest leaders in history. Now, I'm surprised that I didn't take this course first. History is one of those subjects that I've studied exhaustively. I have a massive amount of history books. Actually, behind me here, there's about 500 books behind this black curtain. One day I'll tear that down and I'll do a full library bookshelf tour for you guys, but here are a couple books that I have. I have two by Lord Andrew Roberts. I'm a big fan of his. I have his Napoleon biography, one of the greatest Napoleon biographies ever written. I'll talk more about this at the end of the video. And his biography on Churchill, which I got the hardcover for. It's a massive book, one of the best biographies ever written on Churchill. Again, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Some people love Andrew Roberts. Some people don't love him. I know, some people think that he's biased. Every single historian is biased. If you go all the way back to Herodotus, you go all the way up to today, every single historian has a bias somewhere. For me, there's two camps. For me, the first camp, there's historians that skewer the facts. You could tell that they're arguing one side. They might even hide some facts from you. That's not good. Then there's the other camp where they try to pull their bias back where they can. They try to provide you all the facts in an unbiased way, and they're really doing their best to do good history. And I think Lord Andrew Roberts is in the second category. He's one of the greatest living historians by my estimation. Now, I'm going to go through the synopsis for the course real quick, and then I'll get into kind of some of my criticisms of the course. This is kind of the first course where I do have some harsher criticisms, but let me go through the synopsis first, and then we'll talk about that and the quizzes. In The Greatest Leaders of History, an 8-hour course, so 8 lectures total, Lord Andrew Roberts explores the lives and leadership of 8 extraordinary figures: Pericles, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, Horatio Nelson, Winston Churchill, George C. Marshall, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Margaret Thatcher. Through examining their military victories, political reforms, and personal qualities, we gain insight into the nature of effective leadership across different eras and contexts. The course highlights the importance of strategic vision, moral courage, oratorical skills, and the ability to inspire and manage strong personalities while pursuing decisive goals. So that gives you kind of a general sense of what the course is about. If you're looking for deep dive biographies or lectures into any of these characters, this course is not that. This is the reason why I put the course off a little bit to begin with, because every single one of these people that are mentioned in this course deserves about 10 to 20 lectures on them to really go over their full life. Even Winston Churchill, you could probably argue like 40 lectures to cover everything that that man did. But if you want a course that kind of highlights the aspects or characteristics of these 8 people that are the same, and kind of tries to point at what makes a good leader, this course is excellent. I thought this course was very, not just insightful, but very inspirational as well. And I learned a decent amount about these characters, to be honest. Like I said, I'm somebody who's studied history quite extensively, so I felt as though I could probably take these quizzes without watching the lectures and still do pretty well. I still feel that way after, but not everybody's like that. Some people will glean a lot from these lectures. Lord Andrew Roberts is a very knowledgeable historian, and especially when it comes to Churchill and Napoleon, he knows quite a bit. My favorite lecture he did was actually the Winston Churchill lecture, which you could argue was his most biased lecture. But when he talks about Churchill, you see that gleam in his eye. He just lights up when he talks about him. He has some unique personal stories about him that maybe you might not get at other places. He's actually met Margaret Thatcher. So to get a course from Lord Andrew Roberts is quite a special treat, and I'm pretty privileged to have that. Now, I do have some criticisms, though. Obviously, Lord Andrew Roberts is not a lecturer. He's not a professor. He's more of a classical historian. He's a writer. So this lecture series is done in kind of a different format. He's not just getting up there and lecturing to you. He actually has somebody sitting next to him, asking him questions, kind of interviewing him the whole time. Now, I myself wasn't a big fan of that style. It was probably good for Lord Andrew Roberts to kind of keep on track and to kind of guide him through the lectures, especially, this might be his first time kind of doing lectures to this many people. But that style was not the greatest for me. I would have liked Lord Andrew Roberts to just, go and just talk on his own. But you can tell, he does put a lot of ums and ahs and filler words in there, and he's not the cleanest talker ever. So maybe it was good to have that guy there. Now, one thing that they did do that I really liked about this lecture series was at the end of each lecture, they actually opened it up to questions from the crowd. So for the last 10 to 15 minutes of each one of these lectures, the crowd's asking questions about these figures. And that was awesome. That was actually some of the best parts of the lectures. And Lord Andrew Roberts was saying himself, like, you guys are really pushing me with these questions. You're asking really great questions. And they were. They were fantastic questions. I felt like they were questions that I would have wanted to ask. So that was terrific. I hope they do that with more courses. Another thing that they added on to the Peterson Academy, now this goes for as a whole, this goes for all of the courses, not just the greatest leaders of history. They've added recommended books. So for each course, from what I've seen so far, has 3 recommended books for kind of further reading. Now, obviously the ones for this course are more so about leadership, leadership in war, masters in command, great contemporaries. That one's by Winston Churchill. But they're more so books about leadership and what makes for a good leader. Now, I comprised a list for you guys of 8 to 10 books that I would recommend for each of these individuals. So here's a quick list of just some biographies that are popular, highly regarded, that I would recommend you guys read if you guys want to learn more about the 8 figures that are mentioned in this course. Because I know for myself, I really want to learn more about each of these characters. I kind of want deep dives on Napoleon. I would love a full 20 to 30 lecture course on Winston Churchill eventually. I don't know if they'll do that, but that would be a dream of mine. But here are a couple biographies that I would recommend. So I'm going to go in order. I'll start with Pericles. Pericles of Athens and the Birth of Democracy by Donald Kagan is an excellent book if you guys want to learn more about Pericles. I would also recommend reading some primary sources. That's another good way of doing it. For Julius Caesar, I know I've mentioned Adrian Goldsworthy on my channel before. He's one of the most popular and highly recommended writers on Roman history. His book, Caesar, Life of a Colossus, is an excellent introduction to Julius Caesar's life. I also really like Philip Friedman's Julius Caesar, so I'll mention those 2 for Julius Caesar. For Napoleon, I have a couple recommendations. Obviously, I can't not mention this one. This is probably the best single volume biography I've ever read on Napoleon. If you want a 2-volume biography on Napoleon, Philip Dewar, I hope I'm saying his name right, it's a bit of a weird name. He has an excellent 2-part biography on Napoleon. The first volume is called The Path to Power, and the second one's called The Spirit of the Age. I found that biography to be excellent as well. Now, I could make a full 10 to 15 book list of books on Napoleon that I would recommend. If you guys want that video, let me know down in the comments. I can provide that in the future. But Napoleon is one of those figures who I've studied quite a bit over my life. So those are 2 books that I would recommend for Napoleon. Now for Horatio Nelson, I would recommend Nelson, A Dream of Glory by John Sugden. That's an excellent book to kind of get into the life of Horatio Nelson. Quite an interesting figure. Winston Churchill, obviously. Can't not mention the Sir Andrew Roberts version, right? The Walking with Destiny. This is an excellent single volume biography on Winston Churchill. It's probably the single volume on Winston Churchill if you want to learn about his life. Now, if you're a more avid reader and you want something bigger, I would highly recommend The Last Lion by William Manchester. To me, that is the biography for Winston Churchill. I don't think anything's ever going to top it. It's 3 volumes long. It's a very long read, but it is excellent. And it's beautifully written, too. Sometimes those long biographies, they can be a sludge to get through, but I thought this one was really well written. And then for George C. Marshall, I have George C. Marshall, Defender of the Republic by David L. Rohl. For Dwight D. Eisenhower, I have Soldier and President by Stephen Ambrose. That's an excellent book. Highly recommend it. Margaret Thatcher. I have Margaret Thatcher, The Authorized Biography by Charles Moore. This is one that I've actually picked up. I haven't read that one myself, but Margaret Thatcher, after watching Lord Andrew Roberts' lecture on her, I actually want to go out and learn a little bit more about her because she's one of those figures that I've kind of passed over or neglected to read about. So those are 8 to 10, 11 biographies that I would recommend if you guys want to get more into those characters, into more into those people's lives and learn more about them. If you guys want to learn more about leadership, if you guys want to get some interesting tidbit stories about these figures, I think this course is excellent. If you don't really care about the leadership quality of these people and you do want to learn more about their actual lives, like I said, you can check out those biographies that I mentioned. Or maybe in the future, the Peterson Academy will bring Lord Andrew Roberts back for for a full lecture series on maybe Churchill or Napoleon. That would be awesome. That would be sick for me. That would be on my wish list for new courses. So now I'll quickly talk about the quizzes, and then I'll kind of give you guys my concluding thoughts, and then you guys can let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions about specifics that are taught in this course. I'll try to address those directly, but like I said before, I do want to keep this review spoiler free. So if you guys are interested in this course, definitely go take it. Like I said, it's a pretty awesome treat to be able to learn from Lord Andrew Roberts directly. So for the quizzes, like I said, I myself probably could have taken the quizzes, maybe besides the Margaret Thatcher one, and probably gotten 100% on them, because these are all characters who I've studied quite a bit in my life. But I did find that these quizzes would be very difficult to somebody who maybe has no idea what any of these figures did, and maybe they have no sense of the facts of their lives. You probably want to pay attention and write down names of schools. You probably want to write down years, numbers, sizes of armies and stuff like that. Those kind of things he passes over very quickly, and he doesn't repeat them because he's getting interviewed. He'll kind of spit out some facts and then he's on to the next thing. So I found specifically with these lectures that you do have to pay a lot of attention to what's being said because of the way that the lectures are formatted. But overall, I think the quizzes are all like all the other ones. Like if you really pay attention, if you're writing notes down throughout the lectures, I think anybody could get 100% on all of these. Again, no final exam yet. Again, I'll let you guys know when the final exams are out. But yeah, overall, I thought that this was a great course for learning about leadership, for learning about these specific characters and the qualities that made them good leaders. I learned quite a bit about how they differ in their leadership roles and how they became leaders as well, their backgrounds. He kind of touches on how, you don't have to be from a wealthy aristocratic family to become a leader. You can be kind of, poor and not well off and then build your way up. So like I said, very inspirational, very insightful. I'm very blessed to be able to take a course from Lord Andrew Roberts, and I thought it was excellent. Yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Let me know down in the comments your guys' thoughts on the course if you've taken it. If you're thinking of taking it or you want to take it now, let me know down below if I convinced you of that. That would be awesome. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.